Bonjour, comment allez-vous? This is the Crypto Kid podcast, and today we discuss the day before the election. Everything is bullish with Bitcoin the day before the November 5th, 2024 presidential election. Happy Monday, everyone. The market is upbeat, though the price of Bitcoin has been down due to sell off. Everyone decided wisely to take their profits and get out of the market. And that is a good deal. Bitcoin is currently trading at $67,910 with less than 2 hours remaining in the market. Market sentiment has been very positive. The greatest thing about this is exactly where I said things would be, that Bitcoin would trade between 65 and 67,000 US dollars prior to the November 2024 election. And because the mainstream fake news media has been gaslighting, many investors wisely decided to get out of the market on Monday and wait until the official announcement of Donald Trump's victory. Donald Trump is leading in all polls. They're even in the fake news media polls. They either Donald Trump is leading in their polls or they have removed all of their polls off of their website for today. And that means that Donald Trump is winning. When we look at Bitcoin news, on Thursday, the Federal Reserve is expected to announce another rate cut. That should send the US dollar soaring, but it also should push Bitcoin above the 75,000 price ceiling that I was talking about over the last couple of weeks. And then once the official announcement is made, Bitcoin will soar over 85,000 US dollars. But hold on, and there's buts and they're big buts. It is certain that on behalf of the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris, that Mark Elias will file multiple lawsuits in every swing state trying to have many votes thrown out. So I'm anticipating that Mark Elias will file lawsuits in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. But I also think he's going to surprise a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats by filing lawsuits in Iowa. Why would he do that? Because it's just a vulnerable state. Also, North Carolina and Georgia. So, and that's what's on the table. The guy is brilliant. So he's probably working on the three states that I mentioned for sure: Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And specifically in Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court announced on Friday that no votes without a date, without questionable date, or an outdated ballot can not be counted. And you've noticed that if you go to any of the mainstream media outlets, none of this information is on their page. So I didn't find this out until Saturday because the mainstream media is fraudulent. They led me to believe that the GOP's lawsuit had been thrown out and it was dead. And that's malicious intent on swaying the public view. And so that's why they've declined to update their information. But what it does for you and I is it helps you understand that you can't rely on fake news media. They've lost their credibility. And that is one of the reasons why I'm a technical investor. I've been a technical trader for more than 32 years. And what I've learned as a technical investor is that you also have to factor, you can't just look at head and shoulders and, moving chart averages and other statistics to make a purely logical decision, because political headlines and financial headlines also affect the price of Bitcoin or a specific financial instrument, commodity, or currency. You also have to factor in political headlines and financial headlines. The problem is that in an age of fake news, where the legacy media, which has been trusted for the last 50 to 75 years, they are now propaganda machines for the Democratic Party. And, whether they're propaganda for the Democrats or the Republicans, the fact that they are disseminating false information intentionally makes it difficult to factor in the credibility of these headlines because you don't know whether they're true or not. And this is one of the dilemmas I've been faced with over the last 7 years as a technical trader, is the viability of mainstream legacy media, which is the most plentiful and abundant. And over the last 7 years, last 8 years, their information is not credible. It is intentionally to sway investor to purchase stock or commodities or options. And then soon as investors get into the market, the hedge fund investors dump all their positions and get out of the positions. And you and I are left holding the bag and our portfolios are wiped out. And so now I've had to adjust the weight that I give to political and financial headlines. Specifically, I noticed back in 2017, after I had made hundreds of thousands of dollars, that there were bots, that most of the financial news that was appearing in my feed through the Thinkorswim platform were actually bots that were repeating the same information over and over every hour. And it would influence market sentiment. And I lost a lot of money because of these bots. And that's when I realized that there were people, malicious actors out there that were intentionally flooding the financial headline news with false information to sway investors to get into positions or out of positions. And then hedge fund investors would either get into a position or out of the position, and I would be left holding the bag, and my options position would be cleared out and deemed worthless at the end of that contract. So you need to watch out for this. It's very, I would be in the market right now, but I would be thinking long term. I would have a long position in right now, beyond all the way until next week, because it's my belief that Donald Trump is going to have been determined to have won on Tuesday. But they are going to do, and I mean the Democratic machine is still going to put forth a last ditch effort to manipulate either polls or the counting of ballots, delay. I'm expecting something catastrophic to a degree that we've never expected, because that's how desperate these are. And this is very concerning. And I'm a financial investor. And why is there so much anxiety? There's anxiety because the Democratic Party and their propaganda wing, the fake media, are trying to push and sway everything to their desire. And they are just flooding the airwaves, whether it's online, on the internet, whether it's through radio, whether it's through television. They have a lot of dollars and they're trying to manipulate everyone. And I believe even Democratic voters have caught on to this. And so many Democratic voters are very concerned because these are their leaders. And now they don't know what to believe. And now they understand it's not all about Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. They understand now that Kamala Harris, Michelle, and Barack Obama, these actors are malicious actors who are a threat to democracy. These people hate the U.S. Constitution. And so that's where you see the Democrats continually attacking the American Constitution. And we should all, even African Americans, because when the Declaration of Independence, all men are created equal except African men who we keep as slaves. So these guys were hypocrites and had their own contradictions. But when it came to after they won the revolution and now they're sitting down to create a constitution. It's great that they spent months going over this because these men did not trust government and they had the foresight that to prepare for this. And now, more than 200 years after they've written the Constitution, um, we are faced with now we have actors within the government that are trying to manipulate and destroy the Constitution and violate it and obscure it. And so we're very fortunate. With that, like I said, Bitcoin is trading at 67,900 US dollars, still above 67,000. Ethereum is probably not as far down, but down. Yeah, only $24 at $2,434. There's not a lot of news out there. We do expect the Fed to announce a rate cut on Thursday, which should send the dollar and the stock markets and Bitcoin soaring again. So those are all positive things. In addition to that, um, all polls lean towards the Republicans gaining a larger gap and maintaining that lead in the House of Representatives, but that the Republicans will take control over the Senate by at least 4 votes. And then, so it'll be a trifecta. We'll have Donald Trump, the president, who's a Republican. We'll have the House of Senators, Republican, the House of Representatives, Republican. So we should be able to get something done. And I know the House Speaker from Louisiana looks forward to working with Donald Trump. And we've already discussed the suspicious tens of millions of dollars that is most likely obviously came from the Democratic PACs out there that want to sway. They realize that in the poly market betting polls that Donald Trump was up 33 points. And so they've poured tens of millions of dollars. And that's why the Democrats we have created this new term called gaslighting. I mean, these people gaslight everything they touch, and they have money to burn, which is very dangerous and disconcerting. So they've thrown tens of millions of dollars into the betting pool in their desperation to win. And they're still losing on all 3 areas because the American people no longer trust them, including a large percentage of the Democratic voters. A large percentage of the Democratic voters are sitting back and they're realizing that a lot of the fake news media attempts to smear Donald Trump are not true. And so they are going through a soul searching because they've had to analyze their own behavior and why they willingly just went along with all these lies that they have come to find out are not true. And in particular, the Democratic Party and the Harris campaign have found out that by ignoring men, by continually promoting and propagating women as the only voice of the Democratic Party, that their men, both black and white, who they would expect to vote for Kamala Harris, they've lost them. So I believe this is going to be a landslide upset on the popular vote because not even in California, like you as a white man or a black man in California, you have to have absolutely no respect for yourself to vote for Kamala Harris because she has, if you, let's think about it. Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, and Stacey Abrams have labeled all African American men as sexist and racist. And with Michelle Obama, her nickname is Big Mike. So I don't understand. Like Michelle Obama is delusional, a clear psychopath. You could see it now that their leaders are psychopaths, group thinkers. And what's interesting is how highly educated these people are. These people have gone to elite institutions. Mike Obama, Michelle Obama, Michael and I, because we're still trying to figure out who Barack Obama is referring to when he says Michael and I. Big Mike went to Princeton University and Harvard Law School. Barack Obama went to Harvard Law School. So Liz Cheney went to Yale University. So these people are highly educated and elitists, and they don't respect the American people, including their own voters. And I'm going to tell you now, Barack and Michelle Obama, like it's time for you guys to move out of the political limelight. Like you guys have had your chance, but just like the Clintons, in particular, here Hillary Clinton, you guys want power forever, and you guys don't want to go away. And we see with Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi, who's like 81, that these people want to hold on to power forever, and they don't want the younger generation to come in and start making decisions over their current circumstances and futures. Because, like, with Nancy Pelosi making $150,000 a year, how is she worth $200 million? Okay, off of being in Congress for 20 years, making $150,000. I'll tell you, illegal insider trading, a lot of behavior the DOJ has to scrutinize and go through everything that Nancy Pelosi financially has been doing for the last 10, 20 years. And I guarantee you, if you just go back over the last 7 years, you'll find a myriad of questionable, dubious activity, whether it's receiving stock options from Apple, whether it's dumping Visa stock the day before a federal investigation is announced. That's clear insider trading. But as I tell you with the Democrats, don't ever be a part of them, because it was Martha Stewart that went to prison. But Nancy Pelosi is worth $200 million after working 20 years in Congress, making $150,000 a year. But Martha Stewart is the person that's got to go to prison. I'm telling you, just like all of this crazy behavior that goes on in Hollywood with the pedophilia and other behavior that also is rumored to go on in Congress. Who goes to prison? Who gets indicted? P. Diddy. I'm telling you. So, like, you guys all have fun in the beginning, but when it's time for somebody, when the party is over and it's time to turn on the lights, the person that goes to prison is always a black man. So I'm going to caution you, African American men out there that call yourselves Democrats, that want to be in all these Hollywood parties with all the drugs, the alcohol, the women, and the pedophilia going on. I'm telling you, when the party is over and the lights are turned on, the people that are going to prison are going to be the black men. So I wouldn't even participate in that if I were you. And then in addition to that, Stacey Abrams, Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, I do not appreciate being called a racist and a sexist. I'm not a racist. I was raised by I had my father for a short period of time, and he grew up in an integrated racially integrated neighborhood in Richmond, California, where blacks, whites, and Mexicans were friends. And if you look at all my life, even in college, I've always had white friends. I've always had the neighborhood I grew up in Vallejo, California, was a multiracial neighborhood with white, black, Filipino, and Mexican families there. So I'm not a racist. And then a sexist, I was raised by my mother primarily, and then my grandmother. Okay. So these name callings that we receive from the Democratic Party, from Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, and Stacey Abrams, are ill-earned and unwarranted. And I'm going to also tell you, it's not a motivator for people to do what you want them to do. With that, this is the Crypto Kid. I know I'm just all over the board, but as an investor, now it comes to elections and I'm being called racist and sexist. And then in addition to that, I go to a white Catholic church in Arizona. So how could I be a racist when my priest is white? This is crazy. This is crazy. With that, just stay strong. We're going to have some positive news. The economy is not going like Tuesday to me is just going to be a dead day in the market. Most people, I'm talking about investors, are going to take the day off and wait until Wednesday to get back in the market. And probably you should too. With that, this is the Crypto Kid signing out. Remember, the future is crypto. We have a lot to be positive and ecstatic about for the upcoming changes in the economy and the regulations in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.